Welcome to my 3-part video series, The Ultimate Makeup Tutorial. I come to you right now from my beauty studio in Miami, Florida, and for decades I've been serving Miami's most discerning women. This video series is inspired by all the questions that I've received from my own clients over the years. I'm so excited to share this information with you. If you have any questions, please comment below. I want to hear from you. I'll see you after the video. Some of my favorite concealers are, this is one I've been using for years and years, Tarte Creaseless Concealer. I love it. It has maracuja oil in it. It's really hydrating. So I'm just going to put a little on my hand. So I'm getting my clean makeup brush. This is Angie Hot and Flashy. I really love this brush. So here's the deal with concealer. I'm not going to blend it in yet. I'm just going to tap it in right now. I'm going to tap it into the areas that I want to apply. So as you get older, you want things to go up. Even if you're 25, right? You want your features to go up. You want things lifted. This is why we wear liner and false lashes. This is why we apply blush or contouring, because we want things to be lifted, correct? But at my age, things sort of sag and you want to lift things with even more intention. So using shadow and light, you can do that. I haven't blended this out yet because I want it to set for just a minute. So I'm just tapping it onto the areas where I want to create some highlight. And let me tell you why I'm applying it to the areas where I'm applying it. So if I stood with a flashlight in front of my face, my face our faces are not flat like a pancake. They're full of hills and valleys, and the nose being sort of the tallest peak, right? So if I shined a flashlight onto my face right now, and you can do that and see where the light hits you, at a certain angle. I call this the light zone. When I used to teach makeup classes in my studio, I call this the light zone. It's sort of like a triangle right here, this little triangular area. So from where the tear duct starts down to the sides of the nose. I never like to put concealer right under the eye, and I don't know why I just did that, because I never do that, because I don't need it. If you have really discolored right under eye area, right where your lashes are, by all means put concealer there, but I don't. I like to start my concealer right here, sort of right in this area where I could feel my eyeball. But nevertheless, I'm gonna tap it here. So the corners of my eye, and I'm not pulling because I don't want to pull the skin, because this is really thin skin. You want to manipulate this area with care, even when you're applying makeup, especially when you're applying skincare. I see so many people on social media just pulling their faces and putting makeup on and, just like rubbing it in and rubbing on their creams. Like, don't do that. Be gentle. You want to tap your under eyes. So the light zone is really a game changer. Again, it's a triangle. See, I'm sort of like drawing the triangle right here. So it's been sitting on long enough where I'm going to blend it in now. If you enhance the light zone of your face, you'll always look fresh. It gives you a sort of luminosity. It gives our faces youth. It's amazing. Just that simple act of manipulating the light zone of our face does to open up our face. Think of a refrigerator, right? You're at night, you wake up in the middle of the night, you go to the refrigerator to pour yourself a glass of juice. You open up the refrigerator doors and the light turns on. Think of your face like a refrigerator. You're opening up the doors of your face and then the light, right? So you want the light to be here. Now, because I don't have wide set eyes, I'm gonna continue into the tear duct of my eyes. Now remember, if you had wide set eyes, you don't want to enhance the highlight in the tear duct area, because it's just going to pull your eyes farther away. And then so whatever's left over on this brush, I'm just blending now, blending the edges. And again, in a moment, I'm going to get that same foundation brush and I'm going to blend the edges. And I'm going up, and then whatever's left over, just in the very end, I'm going over my eyes. Doesn't have to be left. There's hardly any concealer on my eyes right now, but it's just enough that I need to mask that discoloration. Okay, so I just applied, and I'm getting that same foundation brush, and I'm blending the edges. I don't want to see lines. I want it to be seamless. I want shadow and light to sort of seamlessly blend together. And I've just applied foundation, concealer, and although I scrubbed my brows in the beginning, there has to be some makeup in my eyebrows right now. So I'm gonna take a little Q-tip, and I'm just gonna scrub the Q-tip into my eyebrows. And sure enough, I mean, there's a little bit in there. There's a little makeup in there. So you want to make sure that your eyebrows are clean, void of any foundation, any concealer, any makeup before moving on. Some people like to put their brows on first, and that's fine, but I don't understand why, if you're doing all the things and powder and eyeshadow, it gets all over the place when you have particles and then your eyebrows are full of eyeshadow. I just don't get how that works, but you do you. Whatever works for you is my motto. Okay, so I'm gonna go back and pat my under eye area because of my lines. That's unavoidable, even though I have like 3 layers of eye cream on right now. I can't live without this Huda Beauty Cherry Blossom. There's no other powder that is better than this. Take note of it. It is amazing. You're welcome. I've been using the Cupcake for years, and Cherry Blossom came out. The Ube just came out. I love that. It's a little pigmented, so I just use it for this part of my face. But nevertheless, this is the best powder I've ever used. Yes, the Makeup by Mario, that's a great powder. There are so many great powders on the market, but this one works best for me. For you, you may like a drugstore product. And at the end of the day, that's really all that matters, is what works best for you. I don't care if it's high-end or drugstore, if it costs $70 or $7. I just want something that works best for my skin. And this does. And although this is not too expensive, I really don't know the price point. I'll post it here on the screen for you under my eyes right now with the powder. You want to use a small fluffy brush for this. Remember, this is the under eye skin. It's the thinnest skin on the body. It's the first part of the body that shows signs of aging. It's the driest skin of the body. So you want to use tools that are gentle and that are mindful of that. If you like a beauty blender, then that works great as well. You can use an eyeshadow brush. It doesn't matter. But I really love this brush as well because it's small and it's fluffy, but not too small, not too fluffy. It's very good. I'm not going to put this away just yet. I'm going to go back to that powder later. The purpose of this was simply to set that under eye area. So even though I just powdered my under eye area, I still consider my skin to be wet. The only areas that I applied a little bit of powder on, it's just a very light layer just to set this under eye and the light zone area. But nevertheless, I still consider this a wet face. I have not set my makeup yet. So if a little bit of that powder from the light zone powder got on my cheeks, that's okay, because it was such a small amount, and it's still gonna work because I'm not finished with my wet products. My goal today is I want to create a nice terracotta look. I love the warmer tones, so I'm using this cream blush. I'm gonna use my hand and I'm blending. This is just a Real Techniques brush. I love these brushes. You get them at Ulta at the drugstore. Really great brushes. Find out where your cheekbones are and don't go below that area. So I just want to focus on this area on top of the middle part of the number 3. Here, maybe on the sides of my eyebrow. There are really no rules. It's however you like it to look, but you still want to sort of maintain the integrity of going up. You know, the old pucker. We were like, do makeup like this, like a fish lips. Why did we do that? We want to bring out where those lines are. On me, it's right here. So I want to stay above here with any shadow product. So I'm even going up into my sort of this area, right above my cheekbone area. That's what I like to do. And then I'll put a little bit left over, just tapping it on my nose. Not too much. I don't want to look like Rudolph. And now I'm going to take the lighter color, and it's a really pretty peachy color. I'm just taking the same brush. Why dirty another brush? And I'm not going to go over the whole thing. I'm just going to, because it's lighter, I already did the darker terracotta here. I'm just going to kind of go up here because this particular color has a little bit of a sheen and it's so pretty and creamy. I'm just blending now. I'm using that same foundation brush with no other foundation on it. I'm continuing to blend. At this point, I could even use that other side of this foundation brush. I haven't used it yet. And not only is it blending, but it's also picking up any additional makeup that I don't want sitting on my skin. And these could be micro particles. Okay, so that is good. So, you know, one thing I forgot to do, I want to share with you something that I love doing, using that contour brush that I used on my nose earlier with the LYS product. So a moment ago, I talked about how we want to create lift with concealer. And so we want everything to go up. We want to manipulate the features with shadow and light. So wherever you have a shadow, you have a highlight. There are no rules in makeup. You do what you want. But If you want to do it right, there are some rules, like what I said about wide set eyes or close set eyes. If you have deep set eyes, you want to stay away from the smoky eye. If you have wide set eyes, you want to stay away from highlight here in the inner corner because it's just going to pull your eyes farther apart, that kind of thing. So if that matters to you, then you can follow those rules. But there is one rule that is constant. It's wherever you have a shadow, you have a highlight. For example, your eyebrows, it's the ultimate shadow on the face. Eyebrows are the pillars of the face. There is no other feature of the face that holds as much dramatic punch as the eyebrows. And I hope you would agree with me. But nevertheless, the eyebrows are a shadow. So if I applied eyeshadow right now, am I going to apply a dark eyeshadow, a black eyeshadow under my eyebrow? No, it's going to look like I have one huge Groucho Marx eyebrow, right? I'm going to apply concealer or a light shadow or a nude colored shadow. I'm going to create a juxtaposition. Wherever there's a shadow, there's a highlight. Wherever there's a shadow, and I created shadows on the side of my nose, there's a highlight. Wherever there's a shadow, like on the number 3 of that face, you have a highlight. So I had a shadow here and here. So that means you have highlight here and up here. So if you don't know where your highlight goes, just look where your shadow is going. If you don't know where your shadow is going to go, look where your highlight is going. So just look at your own anatomy and where you have shadows and light and why that is. And so this is, again, what we're trying to mimic, enhance, or take away from when we apply makeup. I'm going back to my LYS and I'm just going to pick up the smallest amount. Like literally I'm dotting it 2 times. This is such a concentrated product. And I'm gonna blot it on a clean part of my hand, like right here. And if I created the highlight here, and later I'm gonna enhance that highlight with a little bit of powder right here, right? I wanted lift right here. I'm not pulling because that's a really thin part of my skin. I'm literally just tapping. You never wanna pull on the under eye area. Then I'm gonna create a shadow because wherever I have a highlight, I have a shadow with contour. And so you can do that a few ways. You can literally kind of take that brow bone right here. I'm not putting it under my brow because this is dark. I want it light under my eyebrow. So I'm taking it right here on my brow bone. This is based on my anatomy. Yours may be a little different, so you could play with it. Because the great thing about makeup is that if it doesn't work, we just get some micellar water, remove it, and then we start again. I like to take it just beyond my eyebrow. Later, I'm gonna blend that out. Do the same thing here. And then I like to tap it in my under eye area just to create a little shadow under there. It makes a difference. It's so subtle, but that's what it's about. Makeup should be about creating illusions that are subtle. It shouldn't be so obvious, unless you want it to be. And that's a whole other conversation, right? I mean, it could be whatever you want it to be, which is the great thing about makeup. Okay, so if I wanted to blend out some of those areas, let's say I came out too much, again, just get that original foundation brush. You're constantly using this brush up until the end for blending and for an eraser, whatever you want it to be. Now I'm ready to powder. I am going to now powder the light zone. So I'm going to start with the light zone. So remember the tear duct area right into the corner of my nose, that area, and then on the top of my cheekbone all the way out. So it's that light zone. I'm setting the light zone. Every day of my life I do this. Some call it baking. I guess it is baking. It's setting my makeup. I mean, it's what we do. If you want your makeup to last all day, my makeup lasts all day. If I apply my makeup at 7 a.m., by 11 p.m., I may have oiliness around the nose and of course touching up my lipstick, but everything else, my complexion is exactly the same. And although I am 55, I have mature skin, I do have oily skin. And I'm going over now with another layer. So I literally dip my brush very lightly. I don't want powder to go all over. Makeup is messy and dirty, so I just want to make sure that I contain all my makeup particles where I'm working. What I'm doing is I'm stippling. It's like micro stipples. I'm going to sort of remove the powder on the areas that I have a shadow. I want the shadow to stay shadow, and I want the highlight to be highlight. Wherever you have a highlight, you have a shadow. I'm kind of going on the bridge of my nose with whatever's left on the brush, in between my eyebrows, because that's where the light zone is. It's not only the triangles on the side of the nose, but it's the chin, the bridge of the nose, and this little area of the forehead. And then of course, right, this part, right? Wherever you have a shadow, you have a highlight. I literally do this every day, and it's such a game changer. So now that my skin is dry, I just set my makeup with the powder. Now I'm ready to finish my makeup look with all the dry products. We started with wet, and now we're gonna continue dry. So I wanna continue with my peachy theme. And although this was my wet brush from earlier that I used those terracotta corally colors, I'm gonna go over this area right here. There's no additional product on this brush. This is that same Real Techniques brush I used earlier. This is not really wet per se. It's sort of wet-ish. It's not like putting on foundation or concealer. That would be a no-no. I would not recommend putting concealer over powder that's been set. But any residue of a cream blush, for example, looks really nice over areas. Now, for the record, I'm looking at my eyelashes up close, and they're full of powder and makeup. It probably powder from when I did this, because micro particles probably ran into them. And it's okay, because when I put my mascara on later, you're not gonna be able to see it. But if I did my mascara first, and if I did my eyebrows first before I started my makeup, then all those particles get in the hair. So this is why I leave the lashes and the brows for last, for that exact reason. Sometimes I want more warmth to my face, so sometimes I'll get a powder bronzer. This one's a really nice one, this Mario, Makeup by Mario. And what I like to do is I just like to tap it in. I don't swirl it in, I just tap it to load the brush. And then I have a paper towel here out of the camera's view, and I'm literally just tapping. I'm tapping it on the paper towel. And so my paper towel is brown. I would not do this with a wet product. I would use my hand with a wet product because it doesn't go to waste. Not only am I taking off the excess, but I'm also pushing the product into the brush. I'm loading the brush, and I only want a little bit. The larger the brush, the less makeup you're putting on your face. So if I used a brush like this, a really smaller brush to apply the bronzer, it's gonna go on concentrated, versus this, which is a larger fluffy brush that I'm literally just, you could either just lightly sweep it on those areas where you want a little bit of warmth on the sides, the number 3 sides of the face, or you can stipple it in. And I'm just kind of like going back over those areas where I contoured earlier. I'm giving you all the things. I'm telling you everything that works for me, that's worked for decades. Hopefully you'll learn a nugget or two and just extract what you want from that. I truly hope you gained a nugget or two from that video. In the 3rd video of my 3-part series, you're gonna learn how to bring it all home, adding color and warmth to the face, and how to highlight strategic high points of the face so that we can diffuse all those pesky fine lines that we don't want. I hope to see you there.